So Sound of Metal is one of those things that just kind of fell from the heavens, really. My agent sent me the script and just said, look, this is a script that's been doing the rounds for a very long time. It's proved almost impossible to get made. But I think it's special. I read it and it just blew my mind. One of the things I like most about being an actor is learning new skills and learning about new people and communities and cultures, and that's what this job was. Whoever's going to play this role is really going to play the drums. And similarly with American Sign Language, you know, your character needs to be fluent. I was looking for something that would just be almost overwhelming, so that I would have to lose kind of any attempt at control. And that's when the interesting things happened. So it was a 7-month process of learning to play the drums from scratch and American Sign Language. So I thought I'd approach the preparation in a very structured way and just be quite immersed. Stayed in that accent and with blonde hair and all this for 7 months. You know, it's tougher things to do for 7 months than walk around blonde. The world looks at you kind of differently. It's an interesting kick. I would basically do American Sign Language for a couple of hours in the morning, and then in the afternoons for a few hours I would drum. And in the evenings I would usually go to AA or NA kind of addiction circles and meetings. And then at night I would usually go to a kind of gig. It's like the punk and metal and noise scene, the deaf community, you know, addiction circles. The way I'd like to work is just to immerse myself in it completely. The lines always blur between you and real life. In the preparation process, you know, I was immersed often in the deaf community with my instructor, so I'd be at his wedding or go to deaf poetry slam competitions or just hang out and socialize. You know, there's different deaf accents. People in Harlem will sign differently to someone from Brooklyn, will sign differently to someone in LA. Your intonation will be different. You know, like the sign for slow is this, for example, in American Sign Language, slow, you know. But in Harlem, you go like that. You go slow. So if you start saying like that, then someone will say, oh, you grew up in Harlem. I couldn't really express myself as well as I wanted to, you know, early on. And so I get frustrated, and I didn't know the sign for thinking, for when you're saying, and you know, you could do different things. You could go like this, you know, or, you know, I'm thinking. But at that point, all I knew to express how I was feeling was, fuck up. So I was like, I'm fucking up, you know, I'm fucking up. And so every time I would stumble, I would just start like, after the 100th time we do that, that's your sign name, R-I-Z, plus you play the drums, your character, half of fuck up, this is your sign name. And I just thought, that's amazing, but it just kind of gives you an idea of just how the elegance, the inventiveness, the creativity of American Sign Language and deaf culture, to just be able to encapsulate all of that in a gesture that was loaded with so much meaning. I feel like the deaf community taught me the true meaning of listening. It's not just something you do with your ears, it's something you do with your whole body, with your attention. Now, hearing people are emotionally repressed. And the reason for that is because we hide behind words. You know, one thing I got into a little bit, which I think has probably become a bit of a lockdown cliche, is plants. Getting plants, watering plants, growing plants. Orchids are pretty simple, but I was terrible at it. I've been doing that in London. I just didn't really understand the appeal. And I guess in this time of lockdown, to just nurture life and to see how resilient it is and to recognize what it means to just turn up every day and just nurture a little bit every day, it's an amazing practice, and it's kind of teaches you something about how we can maybe deal with each other and ourselves a bit better as well. You know, whenever you do a film, I feel like what the character learns is something that you also end up learning, something that you needed to learn. That's why the role found you. You know, not to sound like too much of a hippie, but I do believe that things come together for a reason.